Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I am really excited to dig down into today's episode. Hey, poddies. I don't know what's going up with this British summertime, but I can tell you right now, it's not fun. We have had rain for all of the weeks. I don't even know how many anymore. I'm done. At the time of recording this, I'm done with rain. So if you can send me anything else, that would be great. However, I am taking one for the team in recording this right now because it is so humid. And I know that some of my friends across the pond in Central Europe and in America and all this kind of thing have been having real heat waves. But humidity is one of those things that I cannot bear. And I'm currently sat here in my shorts, in my t-shirt, I don't even know. I don't think it's possible for my body to sweat any more than it already is. And my hair looks like Monica's from Friends when they go to Barbados. And it just kind of blows up. That is me right now. Oh, what an image for your mind. What a way to start Monday. But seriously, super excited to dig into today's episode. It's all about selling yourself. I get this question quite a lot, and especially in the current market where some people are just not good to buy from. Like, let's face it, there's someone in every industry. I look at certain sales coaches out there and I'm like, oh my good Lord, please do not buy from them because you will not get any results. You will have spent a ton of money and you'll be very, very distressed afterwards and actually probably worse at selling than you were before. And I would imagine that you have people like that in your industry too, whether they are copycats, whether they are just not qualified, whether they're just not good at what they do, whether you hear that they get lots of complaints about them, they don't care really about their audience. The list literally, unfortunately, is endless. And so often people will come to me and they'll say, well, how can I make sure that my audience buy from me first? And that is a very valid question. And it's actually a really good question. And that's what I want to cover off today, how you can sell yourself to your audience so that they don't end up buying from some sleaze bucket, and so you can save them from that particular thing, but also so that you can confidently sell yourself transparently and feel really good about it and know that you're doing it for the right reasons. So let's dig in. Actually, before I dig in, I'm just going to throw it out there. If by the end of this episode you are totally wowed and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Jess is giving us such great examples and she clearly is the sales coach of the century. Yes, internally I was looking for that sibilant alliteration there. Then know that applications for Evolve are now open. Jazz hands, all the things. Applications for Evolve are now open. They are being taken. You can head over to the Evolve sales page should you wish to find out exactly what Evolve is and what it can do for your business by clicking on the link in the show notes. So make sure that if you are wanting to scale your business to 6 figures and beyond, so the two tiers that we have for Evolve are people who want to hit 6 figures and people who want to hit 250k plus, that you go over to that page, you check it out and you put in an application if you want to be taking that kind of action this year. That is only if you get to the end of this episode and think, yeah, do you know what? Jess has shared some decent stuff today. Give her a go. So let's dive in. Now, I'm going to give you examples rarely from my own business. It's one of the things I try and give examples from other people's businesses. But with this, when I'm talking about selling yourself, I kind of have to do it from my own perspective and then you can tailor it for yourself. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. And I'll give you tips and tricks along the way. So firstly, we have to think about why we're actually selling ourselves to our audience. And you should have 2 very clear reasons here. 1, you want your audience to work with you. You really do. You want them to work with you because you believe that you can get them results. You want them to work with you because you want to make money in your business and because you believe that money is fair exchange for the service that you are going to provide. The second reason is because you don't want them to buy from people who are not good, right? Who, I just realized I said that. And if anyone watches Line of Duty, Steve Arnott, main character, that is literally how I just sounded. But you don't want them to buy from people who aren't good at what they do. You want to make sure that your audience that you have been cultivating and looking after for a long time are buying from the right person, they're getting the right service. That's what we want. That's what we want to aim for when we're looking at selling ourselves. Okay. So when we think about selling ourselves, we have to look at it from the perspective of how can we help ourselves And also, how can we help others by doing this? Because most people, surprise, surprise, don't want to just sell themselves. They don't feel like they can brag. They don't want to be not humble about their achievements. They feel like, they've got this area of expertise that's so easy for them that they don't want to charge for it, etc., etc. But as we all know, those people who invest will implement and they'll get the best results, and it'll make their life a lot easier. So what do we actually need to do in order to help our people make the right decision about working with us? Well, the first thing that we have to do is be really honest and transparent and do something like this: how to pick a decent sales coach, how to pick the best nutritionist for your particular allergy, how to pick the best personal trainer for people who want to tone up their arms. Be specific, okay? So if I was going to do this in real time, I would call it how to pick the best sales coach for you if you want to learn how to sell more and retain more profit. That's specific. It appeals to a specific type of person, somebody who wants to sell more stuff and wants to retain more profit. And that happens to be my ideal client. I want people who are commercially minded, who think, yep, I want to sell more, I want to make more money, but also I want to be able to pay myself more of that money. That's very important. The second thing that we have to look at when we are demonstrating this is we can't be angry, right? If we come at it from the perspective of everybody else is crap, which they may well be, I'm not dismissing that possibility at all, it makes your audience feel a bit uncomfortable. Okay. And it's kind of like they get that feeling, of kids in the playground. When you're a kid in the playground and you have that one person that nobody really likes, and you don't really know why after a while, but nobody likes them and you can't associate with them because, XYZ ridiculous reason. And they kind of become the outcast, and it makes you feel really not good. You feel awful about it. And as you become an adult, you feel worse about it because you're like, oh my God, kids are cruel. If you start doing that, if you start with anger from a place of everyone else is rubbish, your audience, they start to make you the outcast because you are negative. You aren't nice. You aren't empowering towards other people. There is a big difference between showing people the reality of a situation and saying, I completely disagree with this on XYZ bounds, and being quite personal about it and being bitchy about it and saying, oh, well, that person just doesn't know what they're doing or whatever. Don't be bitchy. Don't be angry about it. Let people know that, this is a warning, that there are some people out there that they shouldn't buy from, that they should avoid, and that these are the things that are going to help them make the best decision for them and avoid being conned, being scammed, falling for the wrong person when it comes to buying. Like, obviously, we can't do that with everyone's relationships. Apparently, that's not cool. Relationship analysis, not okay, I have learned. So that point there is key. We can't be angry about how we deliver this. We can't go out there and say, everyone else is rubbish and you just shouldn't buy from them, because it turns you into the person that nobody wants to work with. And that's not what we want to do. We want this to become an opportunity for you to be able to be transparent and honest with your audience, to help them make the best decision and to hopefully get more sales as well. So then we have to look at credentials. What are our credentials for the job that we do? And that's quite a big question. So have a think about that for a minute. Now, what I don't mean necessarily is what qualifications do we have? Do we have a master's degree? Do we have an ICF certification? Do we have some other kind of qualification? Are we a registered coach or practitioner for a specific method? Credentials aren't just about that. Credentials are also about your standing in the industry, your expertise, how long you've had that. So if you're not somebody who is jacked up to the eyeballs with a bunch of certificates on your wall, don't worry. That's not what we're asking for. You can also talk about your expertise. How long have you been in your industry? What is it that you've done to specialize over time? Why did you bother getting into it in the first place? And so when I talk about this and when I look at selling myself, the first thing I would say to people is I look really young, but actually I've got over a decade of experience in high level sales consultancy. I've practiced a whole bunch of different sales styles. I've trained a whole bunch of people on how to use those sales styles. I've come up with my own sales styles. And over the years in corporate and in my own business, I've generated literally millions upon millions of pounds worth of revenue for myself, for companies, for other businesses entirely. That's no small feat. I've also worked in over 16 different disciplines. I've worked in numerous countries, and I've been responsible for some of the world's biggest household names, setting up new sales divisions, revamping their sales processes, and taking their profit margins to new heights. Even to me, that sounds kind of impressive, right? But we forget about these things so often because we come into our own business and we start to play small because there's an average pond. So we forget to sell ourselves. And when we do start selling ourselves, we kind of sell ourselves on the same level as everyone else. We're like, oh yeah, well, I've had my business for like 6 months. And, so I've been doing, I've been selling stuff for 6 months in my own business. And you forget about all the other experience you have or had before that, like the life you had before that, or the credentials that you've worked really hard to get. I know so many people, amazing people, who really they have postgraduate degrees in things and they don't talk about them. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to say it because it might make people feel bad. No, if I use this analogy all the time. If I'm going to a surgeon, I want to know that he spent his 7 years in med school and that he spent his time like practicing, or she spent her time really getting to grips with her specialism and knowing exactly what it was to help diagnose my problem and solve it. Don't be embarrassed by any credentials that you have or any expertise that you have, and like stop hiding it under the proverbial bushel. This is actually a thing that I got told off for, side note, with my coach Ali. She told me off because she felt that my bio did not reflect the skill level and the expertise I had. She was right. It was a very nice bio. It was written relatively well, and it sounded non-threatening is the phrase that I would use to describe it, which actually when you're trying to sell yourself, which is what a bio is supposed to do, that's not really what you want. Non-threatening is not what you want. You want people to read it and go, oh my goodness, she sounds like a superstar. And that's not what my bio did. My bio was kind of like, she sounds like the kind of person that you could probably chat to in the supermarket. And, it's nice. Nice, that dreaded word. And so I had to revamp it and go down the credential route. What was my area of expertise? What kind of things have I genuinely been responsible for? And that is millions of pounds worth of revenue. That is training many, many, many hundreds of corporate salespeople. It's being responsible for some key achievements like, having or being a top 20 performer for a global consultancy based in 35 countries with thousands of employees in my first 8 months in the business. Not to mention all the cool stuff that I've done in my own business. I wrote a book. Unless those two things are different. I wrote a book. People use my sales styles. I speak regularly on stages. I've worked with over 3,000 entrepreneurs over the last X amount of years, 5 years. But I wasn't telling anybody any of that because, again, it was this whole non-threatening thing. It was a way of being able to play small in a kind of passive way. So that's the first thing we have to look at is, what are your credentials? Why do you do what you do? What's your experience in doing what you do? And after credentials, we have to talk about results because, again, this is something that people tend to shy away from. And I see this more commonly in health industries and regulated industries, which I love. And I do wish that everybody would preface their sales pitches with results are not guaranteed and are not typical. Because we can't always get everybody the same results. Some people don't do the work. Some people do the work and for whatever reason it doesn't work out. Some people do the work and everything goes swimmingly. But we can't say that what works for one person is guaranteed to work for somebody else. What we can say is that the information, the environment, the situation, your level of care and attention will be the same, and you will give them every opportunity to have the same result. But ethically, we can't promise that everybody's going to get the same result every single time, which is unfortunate because, there are people out there doing that and they're making a lot more money than even I could be making every year, which is frustrating. But actually, again, comes down to the whole thing. Would I rather be able to sleep at night? Yes, I would. And that's why I don't do it. But we do have to talk about results. We have to be proud of these. Yes, we have to kind of caveat them. We have to remind people that, they aren't typical, but we do have to be proud of the results that we've helped our clients to achieve. And we have to talk about those honestly and transparently because it does give other people that feeling of, if it is possible for that person, it's possible for me. And actually that hope, that possibility, that drive, that ambition, that's what's going to get them through the toughest weeks of your course or program or the work that you do together, because that's the bit that carries them through. Somebody else did this, ergo it's possible for me to do this. And that's what we want. We want people to have hope. We want people to have possibility. So talk honestly and openly about your results. Don't be afraid to let people know what the reality of working with you is. If you guys remember, I did a series on the podcast in 2017, 18. I did a series on the podcast when I invited some of my amazing clients to come onto the show and talk about what it was really like working with me, and talk about the warts and all, what were their results, how much money had they made, had they increased their profits, etc. But also, what was it like? What were their breakthrough moments? Did they occasionally at points in the process hate working with me? The answer to that was yes. That seems to be a common theme. Sometimes if you work with me, you will hate me. I'm okay with it. You will get great results, so I don't really mind. But you need to be talking proudly about the results that you've helped people achieve. I'm not saying claim their results as your own. I think that's a really gross way of doing it. My clients achieve their own results through their hard work. I simply provide strategy, accountability, and often very awkward questions that make them rethink what they're doing and challenge their own beliefs. But I do take pride in that. I do take pride in the fact that my clients do get results. I take pride in the fact that we have, as a business, such a high success rate, and many, many other things that come in with that. But again, do I wish share it? No. And this is something that I commit to doing more of, and it's something that you should be committing to do more of. So think about your top 3 testimonials. Do you actually share them anywhere? Do they go out regularly? Do you talk about the results that people can have with you? And if not, why not? Why aren't you getting them out there? Okay. Then finally, we have honesty. And this ties into that no guarantees piece. It's honesty and transparency, I think, come together. It ties into the no guarantees piece, but it also ties into who you are as a business owner and how you run your business. So basically, what I mean by this is do what you say you are going to do all the time, with the exception of emergencies. Again, caveat. Don't be a business owner that is always moving things around. I'm going to do this live stream, then it doesn't happen. I'm going to do this webinar, then it doesn't happen. I'm going to show you the inside of my launch, then it doesn't happen. I'm going to do X, Y, Z, then it doesn't happen. Because all you train your audience to do is expect that you're actually not going to do anything. And then when you do, they are going to be bowled over because it's like some kind of small miracle that you've done it. At the same time, you diminish their trust in you. Every single action that inadvertently doesn't happen in the way that you say it's going to, that makes them distrust you. And over time, those little elements of mistrust, they're going to build up. And when that person chooses who they're going to buy from, it's not going to be you. So don't overcommit to things is a fail safe for this. Don't overcommit. Don't say, I'm going to do a live stream every single day of the week for forevermore, because you're probably not going to be able to do that. Nobody can do that. I did that for a year. And even then, there were still times when I was really, really sick and I was showing up on live streams thinking, oh my God, I'm crazy. And it wasn't enjoyable during those times. And there were times when I just couldn't make it, when travel commitments went down. But because it was so few and far between, my audience didn't mind. And it's one of those things in my business that I've worked really hard. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do that. And my audience can rely on me, my community can rely on me, my clients can rely on me, because that's what I want to take forward. I want people to know that if I say something's going to happen, it is going to happen. I'm not going to let them down. That's really important as a coach. The second piece about honesty is that we have to have those no guarantees around results that we talked about. Not every result is typical. And most importantly, we have to be honest about what it takes to get those kinds of results. If you've ever watched my free cash case studies series, you will see that I'm really honest about the, yes, phenomenal results that those people got, and that 98% of people get on taking that course. But I'm also very, very clear about the amount of work that goes into it. And if you haven't watched the case studies, you can go in there, you can see the breakdowns of some incredible, honestly incredible entrepreneurs that you will have been seeing their name around the internet. You will know who they are. They will be faces that are familiar to you. And, it details their journey from not making tons of money to entering a completely new height in their business. And that's happened for lots of people during cash creation. I'm very grateful for that. But we're very, very upfront. It takes work. It is manual. It's not easy. You're going to have times where you don't want to do the work. And I specifically bring in a mindset consultant to help with that every single time, because we know that it's going to be a problem. Okay, so be really honest with your audience. Being really honest with them and saying, look, if you really want these results, you're going to have to do the work. It is going to put some people off. Good. Then you're not going to have programs filled with time wasters, or people who ask for refunds, or people who are difficult, or people who moan and whine that they're not getting on in the same way as everybody else, and just generally distract the group. If you say at the outset, hey, look, I would love you to buy this course if you're this kind of person, But here's the rub. I'm going to give you everything you possibly need inside the course to be successful. You are going to have to implement it. It's your job to show up every day and give it 20 minutes a day or whatever that looks like. And then that's how you're going to be eligible to get the best kind of results. And if you can't do that, maybe it's not for you. Yes, you're going to scare some people off. Yes, some people will not buy. Again, those people don't matter because they weren't going to be the people who got the biggest results. They were going to be the pains in the backsides, the thorns in your sides, and they were probably going to cost you more money than you made from the sale in terms of time, energy, and potentially harming the relationship that your group program already has. Okay. And then the third thing about honesty and transparency is that we have to be real with who we are and how we show up. You know, when we're selling ourselves, it's not just about what we're telling people. Selling yourself is not about what you're telling people. It's also about what people say about you. And, you know, that's always helped if you do these things, if you are credible, if you are honest, if you treat your clients in the right way. But it's also about how you show up elsewhere. And when we're selling ourselves, because sometimes inadvertently we're selling ourselves, we don't even realize when people are using our testimonials, when people are saying that they've worked with us and, you know, that we've done particularly well in their programs, etc. That's also us selling ourselves. Our clients, this world is smaller than you think, and our clients will see that. And one of the things that I've always refused to do is provide testimonials for anyone that I've worked with or who has worked for my business in some capacity who hasn't done a good job. I just won't do it. It's nothing personal. It's just that I can't put my name to something that is out of integrity. I can't lie to my audience. I can't say, yeah, go and hire this person. They're amazing, when I know that they weren't. And there have been times where people have come to me and they said, oh, your name's on the sales page. And I've gone to people and said, you need to take that down. That's not appropriate. These aren't results I got while I was working with you. And it's unfair to assume or to promote the fact that you feel that they are. Those aren't comfortable conversations by any means, but when you are selling yourself, it's really important you don't put your name to false testimonials. Like I say, whether it's somebody you've worked with or whether it's somebody who's worked with you, you can't do that in your business because people watch you at any stage. Even if you have 10 followers, right? Consider yourself an influencer. Okay, if you have 10 people who ask your opinion on things, if you have 10 clients who follow you or 10 people who follow you around the internet, commenting on your stuff and saying what they like, those people are influenced by what you do, by what you say, by who you recommend, by the tools that you suggest. And so actually, it's really important that you make the right decisions. Everyone makes wrong decisions in hiring. Everyone makes wrong decisions in who to work with. But what we don't make a wrong decision in, what we make an active choice in, is recommending people who are not good. Okay. This doesn't mean go out there and say, oh, I worked with so-and-so and they were terrible. Because, again, who has time for that? Really, like name and shame culture, whatever. Eventually the coaching industry, thank God, is going to bring in regulations. I cannot wait for that day. And they can do that. They can do that all for you. There is 0 point in going out there and putting big cases on the internet, unless you've been conned out of a substantial amount of money or scammed or whatever. Absolutely. Then go out there and you tell everybody what you want. But if it's that you've worked with somebody and they're not great, rather than go out there and slate them on the internet, because that is going to make you look like a sort of person that, again, isn't selling themselves well. People don't want to work with people who are just showing up and being really ranty about other people. Think about your silence as being a powerful tool. Okay. And I don't mean that in the sense of you don't say when somebody's not good. Okay. That it's not about keeping silent and promoting a kind of, oh, well, I'm just not going to say anything culture, but not ranting, not coming at it from a place of anger, not coming at it from a place of trauma and hurt and things. And actually, if you do want to comment on, yes, I worked with a particular person and I didn't have a good experience and this is what I found, but you might find it different. That's absolutely fine. That's fully respectful. That's your opinion. And it's not coming from a different or super angry place, even though you might be angry. Silence is a powerful tool. And saying to people that they can't use your testimonials, saying to people that you won't provide a testimonial, it says a lot about who you are. And that way, when you make recommendations to your community for whatever that might be, software, coaching, marketing solutions, sales solutions, mindset, whatever that looks like, they're going to listen, they're going to take it seriously, and they're going to buy. And so if you are hooked up to those people as affiliates, great, you're going to make money out of that. And that's awesome. You're going to make money for a good recommendation. And when you sell yourself, it's really important that you do look at where you're selling yourself around the internet. You know, if you are in all of the testimonials for a certain course or a certain program or a certain person whose values don't align with you, get them down. It's not your job to make their business work. It's your job to be in alignment with who you are and to make sure that you are, I can't say at all times because we're all human, but the majority of the time that you're selling yourself well, that you're really focusing and showing your audience how you are credible, your credentials, your expertise, your results that you get for your clients, and that you are transparent about what happens with you, with your business, with how you practice, with the kind of results that they can expect, with the work that they will need to do, and that you are not inadvertently selling yourself around the internet as part of other people's testimonials that you perhaps don't agree with or don't believe. All right, my loves, I hope you have had a good time during that episode. Make sure you do go out there. Make sure you do start talking about your credentials, about your results, and really selling yourself on the internet. There are some people out there right now who are making money that really should go to people who do care, who are invested in their clients, who really want their clients to have the biggest, the best, and the brightest futures. So make sure that you're not embarrassed, that you're not going into humble mode, and that you really are selling yourself like a pro, that you're not afraid to put yourself out there and tell everybody why they should be working with you, why they should be excited to work with you, and why all of the things that you have done up until this point qualify you to be the best fit for them. I will see you in Friday's episode. We've got a really cool guest on this week, which is very exciting. It's somebody that I actually met as part of a mastermind that I was part of. And so we're bringing her onto the show on Friday to talk about repurposing, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. I'll see you on Friday. Have an epic week. And as always, if you have any questions or you want to get in touch, just email me, jessica@jessicalorma.com. See you Friday.